And joining me now on the show to discuss AEC shenanigans is none other than the National Director of the United Australia Party. And would you believe it, he's also the former member for Hughes, Craig Kelly. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, no, great to be with you, Jason.
Thanks, Craig. I cannot believe when I saw your post on X or Twitter that the AEC is playing a very, very skinny line now, that they're allowing their colours to be used by the Yes campaign. And right after you've just been in court and successfully defeated them when they went after you for the most trivial of offences, manipulating an 8-point font about an authorisation. How do you read this?
Look, the double standards here is just incredible. And firstly, look, this is a real blight on the Yes campaign. They have engaged in misleading and deceptive conduct and misinformation from day one right up until the election day. Now, the posters that they've designed using that AEC purple colour and the white and copying the font size is very similar. You've got that stylised Australian logo that they use. Right? Someone from the Yes campaign has sat down and said, let's try and copy the AEC's logo and signs and signage. So when someone walks in that doesn't really know a lot about this and thinks, yes, they know it's compulsory voting, and they'll see the AEC signs up and think they might have to vote yes. It is election fraud. It is referendum fraud by the Yes case on these signs. Luckily, some alert members of the public picked it up and put as you said, up on X the other day. And I said, oh, you've got to be kidding. And initially, the response back from the AEC was, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing we can do. Well, then I put up all the precedents and the cases. Now, this goes back to 2019, where there was the Liberal Party down in Victoria in the seats of Chisholm and Kooyong, at a couple of booths there were heavily dominated by Chinese, had some election signages, which basically had in Chinese vote Liberal using the same AEC sort of purple colour. Right? They were taken to court over that. The court ruled that was likely a breach of the Act. That set the precedent for the AEC to act. At the 2020 by-election down in Eden Monero, the AEC acted. There was a sign up there. I think it's a Labor Party sign that they had up. Again, it was just saying, fill in all the squares to make sure your vote's valid. The AEC ruled that was the purple colour had to be removed. So the precedents are all there for them. The law is all there for them. And what it appears that they've done, they've just said, you've just got to not have them in the same proximity. Without saying whether that proximity is 5 metres or 20 metres or 100 metres. Look, these signs are unlawful. They're in breach of the Act. The AEC simply should say, you cannot display them, not only at the election booth, but anywhere in the country. But they're not doing that. They're giving this wishy-washy, weak thing about, not in the same proximity.
Now, is there scope that they can be taken before a courtroom, some sort of injunction? Has anyone got the ability to even do that?
Well, let's remember what the AEC did to me. On election night, Friday night before the election, at 7:30 p.m, they filed documents in the federal court. The case was heard an emergency hearing of the federal court at 8:30 p.m. on Friday night before the election. And the orders, the injunction the AEC sought was that I had to go around to each one of my 42 election booths and remove all my signs in a 100-metre radius. So the AEC has the power to take out, they can ask them politely, please remove the signs. And then they can still go back and still should prosecute them. But they can ask them quietly, you need to remove the signs. And if they don't remove them, the risks of the fine that they would receive would be much higher. So they've got the power, the precedents are there. Why they're not doing this is only up, only the AEC knows. And another thing, this actually, what the Yes campaign have done, carries a 3-year jail penalty. Right? It's a very, trying to mislead voters at election time with signage is a significant penalty, and it's under the statutes, it's up to 3 years in jail. So what the AEC should be doing, they should be subpoenaing all the correspondence between the Yes campaign and their sign designers, the people that printed these signs, because that's exactly what they did to me.
Yeah.
Not over, and I wasn't. There was no argument about me misleading anyone. This was a technical argument about a frivolous matter of whether the authorisation should be 8 point or a bigger size, which eventually won and the AEC lost. And on that case, the AEC took out a summons to my printer because they wanted to see all the correspondence between the printer and myself, thinking that maybe I'd sort of told the printer to somehow, print it in the smaller size so no one sees it. Right? Why aren't the AEC taking out a summons, right, or issuing a subpoena to find out what the design intent was and who was involved in this? Again, it's just one rule for one rule for the other. Thanks. Great to be with you, Jason. Anytime.
It's more than shocking to see that someone who's meant to be independent, the Australian Electoral Commission, is clearly giving a free pass to the Yes campaign. But polling is telling us that it may well be 1/3 yes, 2/3 no, give or take. The Blue Bet, I think, is the only one taking bets on it. They've got no at $1.16. They've got yes at $4.50. So it seems that the bookmakers, like the people, the polling, are all saying that the Yes campaign is gone for all money. What do you think it means, though, that if the No campaign gets up, that the Australian people are at long last saying to their authorities, we don't trust you anymore?
Look, if the No campaign is successful, which I hope it will be, this will be a great moment for our nation to celebrate. It will be saying once and for all that we want to put with our Indigenous brothers and sisters, we want to put aside the division of the past, and we want to say to everyone in this country that you are all equal. No matter what colour your skin is, no matter what your background or your nationality is, or where you came from, if you're an Australian citizen, you are equal under the Constitution and under our laws, and we value you for that. It's the old Martin Luther expression. You don't be not judged by the colour of your skin, but by the content of your character. That's the message of the Yes campaign. But also beyond that, our national reputation and image was very badly damaged during COVID. I always thought we were this resilient nation of independent thinkers that probably had this sort of disdain for authority and pompous rules and things like that. But COVID, I think, shook a lot of people up, and we really questioned who we are as a nation. Were we a nation actually with those sort of independent convict streaks, or were we more a nation as related to the jailers and prison guards that loved authority? Now, if the No campaign gets up, if you look at the weight of the institutional power against the No campaign, from the political parties to the big banks, the big supermarkets, the big corporates, the big miners, the sporting organisations, the sporting clubs, the local councils, every woke organisation under the sun is getting behind and throwing money into this Yes campaign. If against all that the No wins, it will be the biggest thumbs up against the wokeists, the elitists, those that think they are smarter than everyone else and want to control us. And it will restore Australia back to that nation of independent thinkers with that healthy disdain for authority and being told what to do.
The referendum can be the very first nail in the coffin to the globalists, and we watch with all interest on October 14th that perhaps it is that the No campaign gets up and the yeses and the corporates and the left wokeists, all of it, have to eat some. And on top of all of that, governments will be very reluctant at that point to want to force their hand, because they now know that the people do not accept what they're saying. Can be. Craig Kelly, thanks for your time today on World Series News.
Thanks, Jason.